Ruth McCracken and Trissetta Washington, two top-notch career and business strategists, are here to help you defy standards and break boundaries. Join them as they share powerful insights that have already impacted thousands of people and will have a major impact on your career, life balance, and business.
Hello, welcome. Happy day. Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
Yes, indeed it is.
Y'all didn't know y'all were going to get some music today, some singing.
Yes. I mean, the fact that it is, we have, I like to call it Resurrection Sunday. And a lot of people already know that we're faith believers. And, we're approaching a very sentimental revelation type of season. And while we're here in this moment of, identifying the time that we're in, I want you all to take a moment and go ahead and click like and share, because what we're going to be able to deposit on you today and going forward for the remainder part of this series, it's going to be impactful. Words alone cannot even describe it, but I want you to be mindful and go ahead and share. Go ahead and hit like and let us know that you are tuned in the right time, in the right place. Let us know where you're from. I'm here by way of Tampa, Florida, and really excited. We ended off on a really great note last time. If you haven't been catching up with our episodes, you want to go back. And oh man, we did some powerful stuff for Women History Month. But for the sake of now, you are going to go ahead and get unlocked with unleashing your authenticity. Excuse me, I'm having tongue-tied for some reason here in Breaking Boundaries, episode 21. I'm really looking forward to it. But if this is your first time, let me know if you can hear me. If this is your first time tuning in, I want you to know who I am, and of course, who you have in your news feed, and depending on where you are in the country and which platform where you may be listening in. I am Ruth. I am the founder of Promote Yourself program. I help mid-level professionals and up who are looking to move from being unrecognized to now becoming superstars that they already are, so that they can start attracting those dream careers their way. And most importantly, being able to get the desired lifestyle that they truly deserve. And if that's you, let's go ahead and connect. And myself and my team would love to support you. Meanwhile, let you be introduced to my beloved peer and friend, Coach Trissetta.
Thank you, Ruth. So I am Trissetta Washington, CEO and founder of Profitable Productivity. And what we do is help ambitious women in leadership overcome burnout and overwhelm by using an approach that really combines time management strategies with intentional self-care practices, or what I personally like to call balanced ambition. What I do is draw on my 25 plus years of experience in operations management, and I provide tailored solutions that increase productivity and create sustainable success and empower women to achieve their goals without sacrificing their health or well-being. And like Ruth said, I would love to connect with you if that sounds like you. If you're struggling with burnout and overwhelm, go ahead, drop me a DM or drop something in the comments. I'd love to connect with you. And I'm really excited about this series that we're starting today, Unleashing Your Authenticity. We're going to be talking about the key to success in work and life. And over the next 4 weeks, we've got 4 different topics that we're really going to be diving deep into, so that you can really tap into your authentic identity. Because when you are your most authentic self, then you are able to attract the things that you really desire in specifically your career, but also in life.
I wish they would have showed this in, growing up somewhere in education. There's a huge gap. Excuse me. There's a huge gap when it's talking about who you are,
being your true divine you, it's like we almost have to put a blanket over ourselves to be able to blend in the mix, being able to be part of the mold, if you will. But in this particular series, we want you to be able to be self-aware, understanding your authentic, your authentic identity is very important, and it ties in and it's in connection with self-awareness. And I know this is a popular topic, but we're going to go somewhere. I promise you we're going to drive this home because it matters to me in this season that we're in right now, that you want to be able to be more successful in both your career and in your personal life. Go ahead and put in the comments that I'm sure you're somewhere in our audience that you want to be able to have a deeper understanding of your values, your strengths, number one, and your weaknesses, right? You can make more informed decisions about your career path and live a more fulfilling life and being real about it, right? So that's why we're going to go ahead and just jump right on into what exactly is self-awareness. Go ahead and showcase, because I know a lot of us may hear different variety of definitions, but we definitely want to be able to allow you the opportunity to know what exactly does that mean. What does it mean?
Yeah, self-awareness really refers to one's ability to recognize and understand their own thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and traits, as well as the impact that those things have on other people. And what it really involves this deep and honest, because you got to be honest with yourself, this deep and honest reflection on your experiences, your beliefs, your values, your assumptions, your biases, and your ability to acknowledge and accept both the positive and negative aspects of yourself, because none of us are perfect. We have strengths and we have things that need a little bit of work, and it's really important that you acknowledge and accept both parts of you so that you can then show up as your most authentic self in the workplace.
Yeah, no. And I agree. And then where we're going to dive in is a lot of us, after speaking with many high performers and even working very closely with clients throughout the years with myself and my team, some of them, and then even me, have had difficulties in really distinguishing what are the components in self-awareness. Number one was which has been a challenge for myself in the past, is values. When it comes to what you bring to the table, what is the principles around that? What can an individual be able to see themselves like, okay, I want to become more aware on what exactly can I bring to the table and how do I weigh that? And how do I how do I improve in those areas that I bring to the table? Whether it be in project management, maybe in productivity, perhaps you're really good at, accounting and managing the books, or maybe making better choices and living a more meaningful life. But most importantly, how do you identify that? Because for one, when you're accepting a job and you're doing your regular day-to-day routine and you're finding yourself saying, geez, I'm doing pretty much equal, if not more, of the work of my higher superiors, right? But somehow you're not allowing yourself to become fully aware on how to activate, on how to get rewarded for that, right? Let me know in the comments if this is you. If you find that when it comes to self-awareness on your values and even speaking on your strengths, like what are the things that you're really great at in terms of your qualifications, what you've been able to achieve throughout the course of your career and even in your life. Some people, like for me, I find it to be, when it comes to communication, and it's almost in the culture that I was brought up in, that you had to be, you only speak when spoken to, right? And you didn't have to make your voice to be so louder than what it was in essence. Let me know if you all can relate with what I'm saying, because if you said things out of content, if you didn't wait till it was your turn to speak, and here you are now finding yourself in adulting stage or phase, or even in a leadership role, but find it hard to leverage your skills, your strengths, the ability, your qualities that definitely been able to highlight in such a way that the company see you achieving your goals, you achieving your personal goals, your career goals, or perhaps your business. Who can relate to what I'm talking about? Maybe you're finding your strengths to even fall into weaknesses where you struggle with, geez, you're maybe really great at it, but now you're wanting to even show up as that full, authentic you, right? By becoming more aware that, man, I may not be the one that always be the first to raise my hand, in the middle of class, or perhaps in the middle of a team building meeting or whatnot. But now you're wanting to give yourself that grace that, you know what? It's time for me to go ahead and show up, because that's where you will then start seeing yourself gravitating to more people within your circle who are like-minded, just like you. Kind of share with them, Trisetta, what ways have you seen, even in maybe perhaps working with your clients or perhaps your peers, where there's been a struggle around not just your strengths being, put out there and advertising it, but your weaknesses being also utilized as your strength, but now you're wanting to now showcase, hey, this is not necessarily a weakness. I just didn't know how to because of my culture.
Yeah, I think the thing that I tend to see is, because I work with high performing women, right? Highly ambitious women, they have a tendency to actually over emphasize their weaknesses and really get caught up in that. It's like, oh, I've got, I'm horrible over here and I really need to learn how to do that, or I got to get better at that. And one of the things that I really try to encourage them to do instead is one, you need to be aware of what they are, because those are essentially kind of things that can blindside you, right? They can blindside you. But when you're aware of it, then you can bring people on your team who have strengths in that area, so that they basically end up girding you up or becoming, strengthening you, because they bring that to the table. And then you can focus on the things that's your genius, your core genius, and where you're really good, as opposed to always feeling the need to build up those weaknesses. Right? Yeah, we want to grow and develop and all of that.
Yeah.
But you don't want to do it to the point where you're focusing too much of your strength and energy on building a skill that's not necessarily going to give you the ROI that you need in your career or in your business.
I agree. And I even would love to say that perception and beliefs almost are hand to hand, right? Where you may have maybe you went to school for it and you've now created this belief system which, by the way, is the assumptions. Let me kind of break that down, because everybody may have their own meaning of what beliefs is. So belief, in the way we see it today and how it's being defined, is the assumptions, your opinions, the attitudes that an individual holds about themselves, right? And the world around them. So understanding one's belief can basically help you navigate complex situations, even in the workplace, even at home, even in your business, and how you interact out loud, in the large. And most importantly, what is that belief system for you? Because whatever you believe is what's going to go ahead and create your reality, right? Because it's part of who you are. It's part of your personality. It's part of who you are becoming, unless you shift it. But I want to challenge you today. And
I'll just pick up right there where Ruth we're having a little technical difficulties there. When it comes to your beliefs, your beliefs really end up shaping your thoughts, and your thoughts begin to shape your actions, and your actions create your results, right? And so it's really important for you to, if you're not happy with the results that you're getting, to go back and actually become more aware of the underlying beliefs and figure out how you can make some shifts in your belief system so that you can change your thoughts and then change your actions and ultimately change your results.
I agree. And, and that may take practice, and that may take, you having to come out of self and be able to get some support. What ways can I be able to craft that new personality so I can now create that reality that's going to be attracting what I truly desire? Maybe that promotion that you're looking to leap in, maybe perhaps being able to leverage your voice more and have that engagement and that interaction with your manager or with your team so they can see your true, authentic you. Yes. And so, which brings us to the next part as far as your emotions. Now, you and I know that feelings and moods that an individual experience in is also not just internal, but it's also external as well. So you want to become more aware on how your emotions are, because they do help you. They either can help you or harm you. Let me take that a little bit back a little bit, right? If you're not managing, and let's give some examples here. If you're angry, or if you're having maybe your temperament, or why did my manager decided to go ahead and include me or involve me in a project when I'm still working on multiple accounts right now, right? Or maybe perhaps your kids or your husband says he's calling you at the 11th hour and saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to be able to pick up, Jane and John today. So it's your turn to pick them up. And you're in your zone, and now your emotions are out of whack. And so now you're having to find yourself to go back into alignment. How would you share for someone to be able to get themselves back in alignment? Or what would you propose that one can do to get back in alignment with their emotions?
Well, we'll talk about this a little bit. We'll get a little bit more into this later on in the episode, but definitely just being mindfulness, right? One of the things I like to do is to name the emotion that I'm experiencing, right? By giving it a name, you essentially give voice to the emotion, and that allows you to process it and move beyond it much more quickly than if you try to avoid it or just kind of ruminate, right? So give it a name, identify what is it exactly that I'm feeling, because sometimes we may think it's one thing, but it's actually something else, right? I'm sure, unfortunately, many a man has been on the other side of a hangry woman, right?
Oh,
so, it's not so much that she's upset about whatever the thing is that she's complaining about or fussing about. It's because she's hungry. And her body doesn't know how to process the fact that she's hungry, so she's just acting out, right? That's
hangry, like many people may call it these days. I'm just hangry.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
That part, which can maybe tend to yield over to what we may describe as behaviors, which is defined, the actions and reactions, right? That an individual exhibits, because obviously your emotions is tied to your behavior to a certain degree. So you want to become aware of not just your behavior, but also one's behavior, and not become so judgmental. I talked about this in one of my contents earlier this week, that instead of being judgmental, identify that behavior, because it can help identify patterns and make intentional choices about how to respond, next time or in the future, right? Overall, where we're getting at is self-awareness is a vital component when it comes to your personal and your professional growth, because it matters to you. If not, you want to become more aware as to how you're behaving. And maybe we'll talk about what ways can you maybe identify that. So we want to be able to kind of just segue a little bit, because we want to share with you what are the benefits, right? What can be the benefits of self-awareness?
Yeah, and we'll just kind of go through these quickly so that we have time to really get into some techniques for actually developing your self-awareness. But one way is one benefit is it improves your decision making. So when you are self-aware, you're better able to make decisions that are in alignment with your values, your goals, and your strengths, and you're much more likely to consider the impact that your decisions have on not only yourself, but on other people as well. Another benefit is better communication, right? So it's going to allow you to understand your own communication style and how that may be perceived by other people. And then you can adjust your communication style to be more effective and empathetic based on the situation that you are in at the moment. You can also, it's also going to improve relationships, right? So self-awareness can lead to better relationships with others by understanding your own emotions and thoughts and behaviors, and then communicate more effectively with other people, as well as respond to other people with empathy and understanding.
Yeah, and that comes with, no, I'm with you. And that's going to be based on practice. And these are the areas where you want to see what areas can I improve in? Because sometimes we may not be aware that these are areas that we may need to just enhance a lot more better and get more clarity. And sometimes we want to hear feedback and say, hey, reach out to your peers, reach out to your leadership, or maybe just find yourself doing some assessments. There's a whole variety of personality assessments out there, right? And we can talk about, some guidance on what ways can you find it in you to say, hey, what areas am I struggling with? What areas may be considered an area of improvement? Because you don't know what you don't know until you kind of do some research, kind of do some self-digging, right? Getting some time aside and really find it to be true. Like, wait, I do want to find myself to be more interactive, especially if you're the type that not necessarily be the one to speak out in team building activities or team meetings, or you may be the leader that kind of just sits back a little bit and allow your team to manage themselves. And then you find you're wondering why, so-and-so decided to put their 2-week notice in, because they needed that leadership guidance, or they needed that challenge. They needed you to kind of use your iron to sharpen their iron, And so to do that, I definitely do believe in increase emotional intelligence. Who's aware of that? Go ahead and let me know if this is something or a topic that you may not be all 100% familiar with. Well, for starters, it is part of self-awareness. It is a key component to basically emotional intelligence. Which is the ability to recognize and manage basically your own emotions, as well as the ones whoever's around you. This can lead to basically improve relationships, as Tracetta mentioned, even being able to communicate in a way that, listen, I want to know that, am I translating what I'm looking to get across clear? Or is it just dropping into deaf ears? Let me know in the comments if you've ever been in a meeting, or perhaps talking to your partner, or maybe someone you're really close with, and there has not been no kind of interaction or engagement. That's a sign. That's a red flag, right? And so then you want to be able to then say, okay, I need to increase my self-confidence so I can then be able to see the signs, be able to recognize the signs. When you're so fully aware, your confidence and esteem does allow you to have the ability to now showcase what areas is maybe falling under risk. What areas that do I need to now pursue to get even better at, right? Because now you got more compassion in what you're trying to do, because now you have all this confidence. Now you're an overflow to help others. It's not more so just being in your own circle or your own bubble, but you also want to find yourself say, hey, I now know what it's like to be the opposite of self-confidence, because I too know what it was like when I didn't have the esteem. Now I want to be able to pour over to someone else who may showcase something in lack in that area. And if that is you, I definitely highly recommend getting some support. If you may say, you know what, I don't know what ways can I improve or become better at? Because I do believe, especially in the workplace, there's a lot of folks who want to be able to speak up, but they may just need some help and some guidance on how to get that esteem back up, how to be able to leverage certain ways of emotions so that it can be able to be seen and not be, tucked in somewhere and not be able to be heard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's self-awareness is really a valuable skill that, has, as you can tell, a ton of benefits for both your personal and professional lives. It can
Yeah.
really allow you to understand yourself better and make more intentional decisions, as well as build stronger relationships with other people. But now I want us to share with you some tips or some techniques on how you can start the process to be more self-aware. And we always want to give you some practical application to whatever we're talking about. So one of the ways that you can develop more self-awareness is by journaling, right? I have been a journaler for years, and it really is helpful for me to process what is happening in my life simply by writing down my thoughts and my feelings, so that I start to get insights as I write. So set aside
100%.
a few minutes each day, whether it's first thing in the morning or before you go to bed at night, and ask yourself a few questions, kind of like, what did I do well today? What could I have done differently? So by keeping this record of your thoughts and your feelings, it can help you to identify any patterns that may need some improving, right? And like I said earlier, it can really help you to
I
process
like that.
any of those, those emotions that you have throughout the day.
I
Um,
agree. I agree. Yeah.
I'll let you talk about mindfulness because I know that's something near and dear to you.
Well, the fact that, this is an area that I actually had to train I wasn't aware that, when you're even if you're in the middle of a girl's, brunch, or perhaps you're maybe having a date night, or maybe you're with your kiddos, I didn't realize how mindfulness is so valuable in part of who you are, right? Let me give you some, description as to what that is, because this was something that I actually was introduced to like within 3 years ago. Mindfulness is the practice of being pretty much present. How many of you all can say that even though you put self-care, or you maybe put a little sticker note to say, I'm going to go ahead and take a break and maybe go to the patio, listen to some music, and really not think about, oh my gosh, I need to go check my email, or oh my goodness, I need to go grab my phone. But basically being in the moment, it involves paying attention to your thoughts and feelings, and without any judgment. And again, without even getting distracted. Because practicing mindfulness, to me, it actually can help you become more aware of your emotions and how they affect your behavior. Sometimes you got to sit with yourself long enough. If it's maybe carving out 20 minutes, let's just push it back a little bit, maybe 10 minutes. Try to set aside 10 minutes, maybe whatever amount that may be convenient for you as you're practicing. I know, Tricetta, you always like to say, let's start with bite size, right?
Yes,
On ways
absolutely.
to better improve your practice of mindfulness, meditating, or engaging in a mindful activity like yoga or walking. For me, I like to just be able to just put on what I call my eye covers, put something instrumental in the background, or sometimes I don't just put anything. And that, to me, it takes discipline, Tricetta. It really does.
Feel you. I definitely feel you because, um, just earlier today, I was realizing um, I became very aware, painfully aware of how much
Mm.
I get distracted by my phone. I'll, be in the middle of something and I might get a little stuck. And so I immediately will grab my phone and flip through whatever I end up going into at the moment.
Yeah.
And I decided today that I'm going to start instituting some time in each day where I am device free, where I'm literally just being in the moment, just
Man.
being quiet. And,
Oh my gosh.
if I have to put my phone in another room or turn it off, whatever I have to do to make that happen, because
Mhm.
it's so easy to, even when we're just going to relax or rest, to just get sucked into our phones.
Yeah.
Something else that you can do to develop the skill of self-awareness is to get feedback from other people. So
Mhm.
ask your
like
friends, your family members, your colleagues, your clients, ask them for feedback.
Yeah.
And they can really provide you with some valuable insights into how you are perceived by other people. Now, a caveat here,
Go
when
ahead.
you go asking for feedback from other people, you've got to be willing to be open for some constructive criticism, right?
100%.
So try not to take it personally. Use it as an opportunity to learn and to grow, because the feedback is not a reflection on your worth as a person. I'm
I
going to
agree.
run that back.
Yeah.
Feedback is not a reflection of your worth
Come
as a
through.
person.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for you to improve your skills and your behaviors.
I like
So
that.
don't be afraid to act, don't be afraid to get that feedback, and and just be prepared that it may not be something that is easy for you to hear. And then
I agree.
also you want to do some self-reflection, right?
Yes.
So
Ooh,
take
yes.
some time to sit with yourself. And maybe this can be a journaling activity. Maybe you do some self-reflection journaling activities.
The
And
audience need to hear that because we live in a very fast-paced world. We're in a swipe society.
yes,
Let us know that this is something that you want to challenge yourself to do. I want you to challenge yourself to do it. I also want to challenge myself to do it even more. Yeah, self-reflect and go ahead.
yeah, absolutely. So you can ask yourself questions like, what are my values and beliefs? What are the things that motivate me? But reflecting on your experiences can really help you to gain a deeper understanding of yourself, your ambitions, your desires. I mean, recently I'm in the dating world, begrudgingly in the dating world, and I had someone ask me, what do you want?
Oh,
And I know the surface, right? The superficial, like I know from a superficial perspective what I desire in a relationship, but their question was deeper, and I was like, "Ooh, I gotta sit with that." And so I started over the last several days. I've been sitting with myself, really thinking about what is it that I want. But you can only get to the true deep root of your thoughts, your desires, your emotions, all of that. You can only get to that when you take time to reflect.
I like that. Is this helpful? Oh man, I think we unpacked quite a bit on
Yes,
self-awareness.
ma'am.
Self-awareness, let us know in the comments if this is something that you all want to kind of just sit in with because you've heard how it's been maybe marketed or branded inside of our platform, not even that, even outside the doors of breaking boundaries. You want to give yourself grace to start breaking boundaries and giving yourself enough time and purpose to sit around self-awareness about yourself, because
Yeah.
the only person that would know you the most and that knows you the best is you. If you give yourself that opportunity to sit there and just like, man, if I can love myself to the full capacity, then that's when I can become an overflow. So in wrapping and in closing it up here, because I definitely want you all to go ahead and walk away and putting in this to practice. Even if you're saying, well, Ruth, I already do self-awareness, but we want you to go ahead and go deeper, right?
Yeah.
Go deeper with it. And I know we talked about just in the beginning here on what ways can you fully be the successful way of unleashing your authenticity. We gave you some key success on how to balance this with your working life. We talked about what is self-awareness. We even talked about some of the components that it include. We talked about the benefits on ways to better be communicated, be better communicator, increasing your emotional intelligence. We even talking about certain techniques on for developing self-awareness, because that takes practice. That takes you going back, like we said, to seeking feedback from others and also self-reflecting. And that is something that I do want to do even more on the mindfulness part of it, become more present. Because tomorrow, like the old, great ancient saying, biblical saying is, let's focus on today, for tomorrow will worry about itself, right? We want to be so much in the moment because we don't know when our biological clock will be dismissed. So you want to maximize the now. Maximize it as much as you can. And finally, we want to be able to allow you to just go and just put it to work. Start developing more around this topic of self-awareness, emotions, thoughts, behaviors. Because if you want to change who you are as far as the person that you are and as far as your environment, you got to be self-aware. You got to become more self-awareness about this. Let us know. Has this been massively life-changing for you? Eye-opener for you all? And if it has been, let us know in the comments. Myself and Trissetta will personally go in there and definitely be co-creating with you and just having some conversation. Why not? Because we want you to be able to embody this new practice, or maybe just increase this practice of self-awareness, right? And in the meantime, if this has been super helpful, let's go ahead and increase the algorithm. Let's go ahead and disrupt it. Go ahead and share it with a few of your peers and your friends, because it matters to us that we're now going ahead and increasing the vibration, making sure that we're hitting on so many platforms, and most importantly, that we're able to have the self-awareness to be in a corporate setting where we're now shifting the way we think, the way we feel, and how we're becoming. Meanwhile, have an amazing day and enjoy. We'll see you all next time. Love you all so very much. Talk to you soon.
Bye for now.
Join and subscribe with career strategist Ruth McCracken and business strategist Trissetta Washington to the Breaking Boundaries podcast each week. You too can experience the limitless potential of rewriting rules and creating an extraordinary future for yourself.